Jane Foster has been the new Thor for quite some time now, but what if people started to figure that out? Welcome to the Complete Story Series, where I take trade paperbacks and single issues, and I break them down into digestible bites to help you understand. Then I read it dramatically back to you. All alterations of the panel, text, and images are to prevent copyright problems, and all art is owned by its respective companies. Now this is the continued journey of Jane Foster as Thor in the all-new, all-different Marvel. Don't forget, if you like these characters and these stories, then give this video a like, because it tells us that you want these stories to continue. Also, don't forget to comment down below what you thought about the story, and if you would be so kind, we would really appreciate your subscription today. Every day of the week is different for Jane Foster. On Wednesday, she dug a well. Thursday, she made the stars fall. And when the weekend came, she was drinking like a Viking, fighting like a Viking, and even raged like a Viking. But Tuesdays? Well, Tuesdays are the days that she hates. Those are the days that she leaves Asgard for her treatment. Except this Tuesday. This Tuesday, S.H.I.E.L.D. agents Curdle and Krill decide that they want to ask Jane a few questions about Thor. During this time, though, over in Switzerland, there is a meeting among some of the richest individuals in the world being held. Among those people, the CEO of Roxxon, Dario Agger, who is being scrutinized over some of his latest business plans at some of the mines in one of the realms. Normally with this group of people, everyone works together in their new business plans, but Dario took it upon himself to keep the new market to himself. Dario tells everyone that he's worked hard to let them in on his work, so if they want a piece, they had better get ready to take it. Across the table, Shingen Harada, CEO of Yashida Corporation, as well as being the Silver Samurai, gets up and begins to change into his suit, telling Dario that he might just take him up on that offer. Over in the S.H.I.E.L.D. helicarrier, agents Curdle and Krill sit Jane down to ask her some questions regarding the new Thor, like, who is she, and why does she wear a mask? Normally people wear masks to hide something, but she knows all about Thor, doesn't she? So all they want to know is the new Thor's secret identity, or else. Jane looks at the two of them and begins to laugh, telling them, "Or what? I have cancer. There really isn't anything you can do to threaten me." But before the questions can go any further, Agent Roz Solomon steps in, telling Jane that on behalf of S.H.I.E.L.D., she is very sorry. She is free to go now. Raj tries to state that normally things regarding to Thor come across her desk first, so those agents who brought her in for questioning really shouldn't have done that, and she's really sorry about that. However, as the two of them fly down from the helicarrier, Jane overhears a report to Roz that one of her Roxxon wiretaps just got a hit regarding a secret corporate summit being held in Switzerland. So after returning back to the hospital, Jane decides that dying is just gonna have to wait a little bit longer. Right now, the Earth doesn't need a sickly doctor. It needs the goddess of thunder. Back over in Switzerland, Dario begins to change into his minotaur form, and he's about to strike Shin when he's shot in the back by a golden bullet and then electrocuted. As Dario falls to the ground, Exterminatrix tells everyone that their meeting is adjourned, and the next time they decide to gather, make sure they have a seat for her. Minutes later, Roz reports back to Coulson that it seems that she just missed a meeting, but something definitely happened, judging by the dead Roxxon agents outside, so he might want to send backup. And just then, Thor rips the vault door off, leading to a room, calling out to Dario. Roz tells Coulson not to worry about that backup. It kinda just arrived. A little while later, the travel out to the Southern Ocean to locate Dario's secret facility, Ice Station Prime, has begun because they're looking for clues as to why Dario was kidnapped. Roz says that she knows it's out here somewhere, and Thor agrees and states that if it is, a Mjolnir will find it for them. To which Roz says, "That's a cool trick. It's also kinda super creepy." But while the Hammer searches for the facility, Thor wonders if she believes that these people actually wish to do harm to Dario. Roz responds with, "Isn't everyone?" So Thor asks, "So why are we trying to stop them?" And Roz tells her that while that is an important question, and it would be nice to let the villains handle their own issues, there is something called the Agger Imperative. And that is something that they need to avoid at all costs. Down below in the secret facility, the security doors begin to melt as Shin begins to break through them. After killing some of the scientists, Shin leaves after dropping off a bomb and reports that the Agger Imperative is active. He will rendezvous in, but then Mjolnir breaks through the doors, knocking him back. Back up top, Thor says that Mjolnir found it. Head that way. Moments later, Thor bursts through, hitting Shin down again, and tells Roz that the target is armored and wielding a sword. And before Roz can tell her who that is, Shin says that he is the Silver Samurai, and tell whoever it is that you are talking to that the Silver Samurai is going to kick her ass. As the sword and the hammer meet, Thor tells him that her ass doth disagree and blows him away with a crack of lightning. Shin quickly jumps back up, punching Thor, stating that that actually helped him. So she must be new to this, right? Think of it as if she was fighting Iron Man, except if he was cool, knew karate, and carried a badass sword. Roz radios in that she needs to be careful. This guy is just like Iron Man if Iron Man was, but Thor stops her, stating, about to be bludgeoned repeatedly with a hammer. As the fight goes on, Shin shouts that he's wearing $2 billion worth of cutting-edge technology, and she's coming at him with the third best invention of the Stone Age. Mjolnir continues flying around hitting him until finally knocking him to his knees, and Roz runs in telling him that he's under arrest. And she can't believe she's about to state this, but please say that they haven't hurt Dario. Shin jumps up and flies out of the facility, telling them that they shouldn't be worrying about Dario. He will at least outlive the two of them. So in response to that, Thor quickly jumps out and begins to lift the facility out of the waters to stop the flooding. But inside, Roz tells the remaining scientists that they know that they are tracking Dario, and they better tell her exactly where he is. And after they do, they're going to shut down the Agar Imperative. Thor begins to ask what exactly is the Agar Imperative, and Roz tells her that it's Dario's contingency plan if there was ever a hostile takeover of Roxxon. Basically, the island of Roxxon will become weaponized and turn into the biggest floating time bomb on the planet, and it'll be aimed right at Manhattan. Over on Roxxon Island, a worker tells the members of their strike force Berserker welcome to active duty. Earlier, their CEO Dario Agar was kidnapped, and their targets have been identified as the Silver Samurai and Exterminatrix, which means corporate warfare has been declared. And as he leaves, he tells them that they will not rest until they find. But then a man is suddenly shot in the head, and Exterminatrix asks Dario which way now. Silver Samurai then asks if he should take care of these, but Exterminatrix states that they aren't worth their time. Oh, mindless ones, go be mindless. Two mindless ones burst through the walls, and suddenly the Berserkers shout, "Don't worry, Mr. Agar, we will earn our pay!" And they begin punching each other. Everyone stops and Silver Samurai says, But then the Berserkers begin to grow and get angry, and one shouts, "Roxxon, smash!" Seconds later, Thor and Roz crash through the windows, and Roz tells everyone, "Hi, you're all under arrest for, being whatever you are, but which way did Dario go?" Thor jumps into the fight, and Roz shouts that it seems like she has this under control, so she'll go on ahead. After following the bloody footprints, Roz catches up with everyone just as Silver Samurai begins to hack into Dario's vault. Exterminatrix fires her gun, telling Roz to go get her own hipster minotaur, and Roz radios for backup. The radio tells her to just look out the window. Backup is already here, as the SHIELD helicarrier parks right next to the island. After finally defeating all of the mindless ones and Berserkers, Agents Curdle and Krill walk in telling Thor that they have found 239. Once Thor looks a little confused, they state that that's how many text messages they found on Jane Foster's phone, which was in her room in Asgard, texting between her and a certain Sam Wilson, some of which were rather unseemly in nature. So take the helmet off, Jane Foster. You're coming with us and you're going to answer some questions whether you like it or not. Thor tells them to hell with their questions, and she energizes Mjolnir to keep everyone away. Back over at the vault, Dario manages to overload his collar and break free from his restraints, quickly changing back into his Minotaur form and punching the Silver Samurai away. Dario then begins charging towards Exterminatrix, telling her that he's going to gore her like a radio clown. But then the voice of Thor tells them, "I have a better idea." Lightning strikes down between the two of them, and as she walks towards Dario, Exterminatrix loads a particular bullet. Her gold bullets may not stop a god, but there is one bullet, with a drop of her dead father's blood, that can hurt anyone. Good night, Dario. The gun goes off, and as the bullet heads straight towards Dario, Thor reaches out catching it, stating, "Kill each other and Morrow if you like, but the city needs to be saved, and only one." But then Thor falls to her knees, as the blood from Exterminatrix's father begins to turn Thor's hand into gold. Agents Curdle and Krill run in telling everyone to freeze, Jane Foster included. She's not fooling anyone, but just then, a light begins to shine as a portal opens up, and out steps Jane Foster, telling everyone that she comes in peace, she's here to help. Thor looks at herself as Jane Foster, asking, "How is this?" But the other Jane tells her there's no time. She can't hold this form for long. Just tell her what they have to do to save her. As Jane begins to help remove the bullet, an announcement goes out stating that the thrusters have disabled, and the island begins to fall. Everyone begins fighting with each other to try and get out of the island, but Thor jumps in, telling Roz to get everyone out. No one dies today, except perhaps the Silver Samurai and Exterminatrix. Roz grabs a hold of Jane, and just as she asks what to do with the bullet, Roz pushes her, telling her to move, causing her to drop it. Once everyone gets out, everyone watches as Roxxon Island begins to turn to gold, and the agents Curdle and Krill talk about how they can't believe that they were wrong. They were so sure that it was Jane, but it does make sense when you look at her. Thor comes bursting out, grabbing the falling island, and radios to Roz, asking if she's sure that there's no one else inside. And Roz tells her that scans show no life, and Thor tells her, good, and she pushes the entire island into the sun. Once everyone is arrested, Agents Curdle and Krill tell Thor and Jane on behalf of S.H.I.E.L.D. they are sorry for what they put her through. But what about those dirty texts between her and Sam Wilson? Is Captain America really sleeping with a cancer patient? But Jane tells him that she has a long history with the Avengers as a doctor. As for any personal relationship that she may have with Sam, or anyone else for that matter, it's officially none of their bilge-snipping business. Once the two agents leave, Jane then says that it's time for her to go, but Thor stops her, stating, "Not yet." She wants her to know the truth, as well as she wouldn't mind knowing herself. Jane then says, "Very well, if this is how you wish for the day to end, then so be it." Her heart is stronger than even her lightning, and that's what makes her worthy. That is why she chose her. Jane begins to fade, and in her place appears Mjolnir. And Roz says, "Holy crap and cow, the truth is, Jane Foster is secretly Thor's hammer?" Thor tells her no, and changes back into her normal form, that of the real Jane Foster, telling her that Thor is her. Roz tells her, "I've got it. Can everyone just stop changing into things for a second?" She then asks her to tell her why, even after Mjolnir tried so hard to keep her secret, that Jane would go ahead and reveal it. And Jane tells her that Roz has proven to be a true ally, and she doesn't want to repay her by lying. Roz asks if that's the case, what about the cancer? And Jane tells her, that is a subject for another day, perhaps over coffee. Roz agrees and says that she's buying. She did get shot with a golden bullet after all. But does that mean the hammer is alive? Jane grabs a hold of Mjolnir and begins to change, stating that that's a good question, one that she would like very much the answer to, and then lightning strikes, and Thor is gone. That concludes the latest arc, and the next storyline is actually the secret history of the hammer. So I'm probably gonna have to learn how to say Mjolnir properly. But anyway, that's as close as I think I can get. Don't forget guys, if you want this channel to exist and keep going, we need you to like this video and let me know down below what you think about this storyline. And for those of you guys who are still whining that you want Odin's son back as Thor, Marvel finally listened. We have a new comic that's currently out called Unworthy Thor, explaining what happened to him after he lost the hammer. It's so far really good, but it's only in issue 2, so I'll be getting to that eventually. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter at Comicstorian and Instagram at Comicstorian, and I'll see you guys next time right here.